Hi, everybody. It's the waitingfornextyear.com podcast. I'm your host, Craig Lindell, and I'm going to do a little thing for a little bit called Commuting with Craig. I have a very short commute every day. I live basically in Chagrin Falls, and I commute to Chagrin Falls. So I'm going to do some podcasts, and today is an easy one because we were faced with the brand new news that Urban Meyer is set to retire after the Rose Bowl. After going through all that he went through this year with Zach Smith and his suspension and his, it's not a brain tumor, it's a brain cyst, and his headaches and doubling over on the sidelines and wincing in pain. Now he's going to retire. And there will be a lot of people jumping to try and define this and talk about it and figure out, well, what does this mean and what's my opinion on it? And, you know, how is Urban Meyer, is his career at Ohio State better than Jim Tressel's? And I don't really care about all that stuff. I never really tried to weigh in too much on the Zach Smith stuff either. Like, at a certain point, it's almost more powerful not to have an opinion on everything. Urban Meyer has had an exceptional career at Ohio State. He's won more than 90% of his games as Buckeyes head coach. He was at Ohio State for 7 years. Tressel was at Ohio State for 10 years. I mean, 7 years is a lifetime in terms of an NFL career, college career, coaching, high-profile football coaching careers rarely last 7 years. So there's nothing to say other than it's been a success. Now, you can try and divide the line and figure out if he was better than Tressel or worse than Tressel or whatever else, but ultimately, it doesn't matter. It was pretty damn good. It's pretty damn good. I know nobody gets the happy ending, and Urban Meyer certainly, even if he wins the Rose Bowl, I think a lot of people will remember his tenure at Ohio State ending with his defense of Zach Smith almost to his firing. And that's certainly, an ugly thing, an ugly way to go out, but somehow he and the Buckeyes and Ohio State University survived through that for one more season after a short suspension. And now he gets to kind of go off into the sunset. Who knows if it's permanent? I don't care if it is or isn't. It just doesn't matter. It was great. It's been great. Nothing lasts forever. And you just hope that Ryan Day and the idea of continuity at Ohio State makes all kinds of sense for the Buckeyes, because he's actually the right head coaching candidate, not just the one who happens to be there. From all we've heard, Ryan Day is a worthy candidate and a really good up-and-coming football coach. He's 39 years old. This is the appropriate move right now. But in the back of your mind, whenever you're hiring for a position as high profile and as coveted as the Ohio State head coaching position, you always wonder if a wider search wasn't more appropriate, a national search wasn't more appropriate to try and make sure that you exhausted every possible avenue to get the best possible coach. Some will always accuse Ohio State of going with the convenient candidate because Ryan Day happens to be there. But, that obviously he has a chance to prove that he's the right guy and that he belongs there and that he is the heir apparent as opposed to just the next in line. So that's really it for Ohio State. Just kind of unbelievable. The other part of this story today for me personally is I'm going to see Death Cab for Cutie play at the Agora tonight. And I figured it out this morning by Googling it. It's been 17 years since I've seen Death Cab for Cutie in that building. The last time I saw them play there was in the ballroom. It was part of the kind of ironically named Death and Dismemberment Tour. Death Cab for Cutie and the Dismemberment Plan. Both bands that, neither death nor dismemberment really fits those bands sonically. I guess that's the ironic part of the names, but and the ironic name of the tour, the Death and Dismemberment Tour. But Death Cab for Cutie comes back to the Agora. Probably not going to play the ballroom this time. I'm guessing it's in the theater. And it's just so strange because if I think about 2002 was 4 years before I got married. I probably wasn't even dating my wife at the time. Certainly, I've got 2 kids. I've been married over 10 years now. And so same band. Obviously not the exact same band. A few of the faces have changed. They've got a different drummer and a different guitar player, and I think an extra band member now. But basically the same band coming back 17 years later, and I'll be there with a little bit more gray hair and a lot more tread on the tires. Well, not tread, miles on the tires. Maybe a lot less tread on the tires. It's just this getting old thing. I turned 40 in February, which Jeff Nomina has named Y2 Craig, which I think is kind of funny. But it's getting weird. It's getting weird because I'm at that age where we've lost a lot of my favorite rock stars, and I'm not even talking about elder statesmen like Prince and Tom Petty. It's been 3 years since Scott Weiland passed away today. Scott Weiland of Stone Temple Pilots. And it's a mind bender. It's just a mind bender. I'm sure everybody who gets to 40 years of age and older starts to feel this way, where it's been longer. It's been more years since you've been out of high school than you were old when you graduated high school. Where you start to have known some of your best friends for more than half your life. And so that's kind of the wistful feelings I'm feeling today as I get set to see a band that I probably saw for the first time in the late 90s in Boston. And here we are, 17 years after I saw them in the Agora, watching Death Cab for Cutie in the Agora. So anyway, hope you have a great day. Thanks for listening. This has been Commuting with Craig. It's been the waitingfornextyear.com podcast.